Hey guys, check out this stone coat countertop that we just finished making. We're going to show you step by step how to emulate this exact color. This is our Slate Stone melded marble. It's a very easy technique. You will not believe it. Stay tuned and visit us anytime at stonecoatcountertops.com. Enjoy the video. Hey guys, Mike here with stonecoatcountertops.com. Today we're going to show you how to do a really cool effect, our Slate Stone melded marble. We're going to show you how to reproduce this technique. It's very simple and very quick. It's going to blow your mind. Here we go. Let's get started. The very first thing that we're going to do is we're going to do our paint and primer in one base color. And we use Ethiopia on this color. It's really a nice earth tone. We like this color a lot, and we're going to show you just how easy it is. Make sure when you're applying your paint and primer in one, you're going to do 2 coats. You're going to do the edges, you're going to do the top, you're going to sand in between coats with any sandpaper between 150 and 220. The reason we do 2 coats is because the edges of the MDF are quite porous and they need to be sealed. The more you seal this and do a better job on this coat, the better your epoxy coat comes out. So we're going to show you just how we do it here and how to reproduce this color and any color found on our color recipe section of our site has the written instructions. We're just going to follow those written instructions and show you how repeatable these colors can be. Now we're doing a sample piece here. This piece can be this big or it can be 10 feet long. It doesn't make a difference. The color recipe is the same and the results come out the same. All right, so I'll just finish using our paint and primer in one on this piece. I'll do 2 coats, we'll sand in between coats, and then we'll get started with the fun part. Stay tuned. All right, we're going to sand that first coat of paint and primer in one. I like to use my backer. This is just a little handheld backer. You can use your random orbital sander if you so choose, but don't use that on the edges. You'll burn through the color. So just do a quick sanding job. This is a 150 grit sanding disc, and all I'm doing is just smoothing out that paint and primer in one. And that's very easy to do. You can feel it's kind of rough right now, and as soon as you pass it over with the sandpaper, it becomes very smooth. And I'm just going to do a nice little edge sanding. Not very hard because you don't want to burn through that color. Oh yeah, that makes it feel a lot better. That's good. And I'm just smoothing this out so my epoxy has a nice smooth surface to roll over and follow. It really helps in the end. All right. Oh yeah, there we go. All right, and now we're going to do our next coat of paint primer in one. When you're wiping your dust on your stone coat countertop project, make sure you don't use a tack cloth. You don't need it. Some tack cloths are fine, but some of them have a residue in there that will act funny with your epoxy. So in between paint and primer in one and after you sand your first coat of epoxy, just use some paper towels and simply wipe that dust off. And that's all we do just to prepare for our next step. Okay, our paint and primer in one has dried. We're ready to sand that second coat, and we're going to do the next step. So all I'm going to do is just a light sanding here. That's feeling really good. All right, our edges, let's get those sanded, and we'll do our next coat. Here we go. This is a really cool color. We're going to show you very easily how to emulate it. This technique and this technique here with this melded marble technique, it's done with basically alcohol and water. They don't want to mix. So we're going to show you how that effect happens. That's where the magic happens. You can take these metallics and put them right into our wet mix. But what I want you to understand is you can use any colors you like. We're going to show you the specific colors that we use to reproduce this look because it looks like a real high-end slate. We love the look. We're going to show you how to match it. But if you don't like the color we're using, make it your own and switch it up. That's the fun part. Okay. What I'm going to do is I'm going to take our empty cup and I'm going to add 50-50. I'm going to start with just regular water, and then we're going to add our paint and primer in one in natural gray. Our first coat that we put on this is Ethiopia, and we're going to use natural gray paint and primer in one mixed 50-50 with water. You want a really wet, watery mix for this effect. So this mixture is really to your experience and what you're looking for. So if you need to add more water, go for it. If you need to take some away, do that as well. Whatever's working for you to get you the effect that we're about to show. Okay, so I'm just going to take some of this Behr Paint Primer 1 in natural gray, and we're going to mix that right in the water. All right, I'm going to pour some of that just directly in my cup here. Now you're going to have to change this up just depending on how big your counter surface is. But you know what's nice about this Paint Primer 1 is a gallon goes a really long way. When you're doing 100 square feet, you don't need much more than a quart to really paint that. So a gallon, we buy it by the gallon because we know we're going to use this color over and over again. We like to stock about 4 colors of Paint Primer in 1, and all of these samples here were made with just 4 different base colors. So they're very versatile. You can really start it and take it to whatever color you'd like. But the important thing is this also acts as a nice sealer over that MDF. Okay, so now that we got our mixture, we're going to mix that up a little bit. And when I mix that up, I honestly like to use my roller skin because we're doing 2 things. We're pre-priming the roller skin where it's nice and wet and saturated, and we don't have to get it wet or else it's going to soak up all the water that you just put on the surface. So let's just mix that up. And this is a really milky, really white, watery color, and that's exactly what I'm looking for. And basically, this is it's a wet on wet technique. You're gonna apply just a really wet wash coat, and we're gonna spray those metallics into the water. Now those metallics are gonna stay suspended until the water evaporates, and that's what really does the movement and the melding for you. It requires no artistic ability whatsoever. It's gonna make you look like a good artist, but between you and I, it's really easy. Here we go. All right, so I got my roller ready. Now what I'm going to do is I'm just going to pour this out right on the surface. When you're doing this to your own project, make sure you do it with the alcohol technique while the water is just completely on the surface. If you have a giant kitchen, do it section by section and overlap your coloring. That way you have enough time just to work with what you're doing, because this water really starts to evaporate rather quickly. So let's just push this out. And I'm not really painting, I'm more pushing this around. And that's all you're doing. But you want to make sure there's enough water on that surface. I like to keep a squirt bottle with water next to me in case my underpainting starts to dry out a little bit. Now you're wondering, why did I use a different color underneath as my paint primer in 1? That's because as this oil and water mixture kind of mixes and dissipates, you might see through to that base color. And when you do, it's going to be a slight different shade, which makes it look even more realistic. So we like to use different tones and different colors and really make it our own. All right, did I get that front edge?
A little bit more. Yeah, that side.
All right, so now it's pretty wet, but I want it even more wet. So I'm just going to add a little bit more of my mixture, and I'm just going to move this around. And that's just about the consistency that I like. And I may even want to add a little bit more water. Let's go ahead and do that. So I'm going to mist this with some water, just on that surface. And now we're going to take our metallics, and I'm going to start with our coffee metallic. This is 91% isopropyl alcohol, and it's mixed with about half a bag of our metallic powder with 6 to 8 ounces of alcohol. Now how I figure this out is I'll start with 6 ounces, I'll do half a bag, I shake it up, and I make sure it's coming out. Oh, it comes out really good. That way, if it's not coming out too good, it's too thick, you need to add a little bit more alcohol. But I like it nice and concentrated, so we start with 6 ounces and work our way up from there. All right, here we go. You're gonna see what this does here. This is just incredible. And all I'm doing is just spraying some of that metallic on there. And you can see just that first color. I mean, holy cow, that's amazing by itself. You may like that, be done. But look at that, that's just starting to move and it won't meld with that water-based color underneath. Okay, so we got some coffee. We're gonna hit it with some black and make sure you're testing your colors before you put them right on your surface. Okay, that's working, so let's put some black in there. And I'm just spraying this. You want these all to mix. So you want to work rather quickly when you're doing this technique while the water is still going. If not, just take your squirt bottle and add a little bit more water, and that'll move those metallics even different for you. Let's just keep doing this. Get those front edges. And that's what I love about these metallics. They're super versatile. All right, we're going to take our gold metallic. We're going to shake that up. We're going to apply gold. And what I'm doing is I'm just going to layer these metallics until I get the color that I like. But keep in mind that base color that I just watered 50-50, that's washing out. I really don't want to see too much of that color, but it will lace. It'll interlace a lot of our color as what you see in that sample. All right, so that's gold. I want to knock down some of that gold, so I'm going to add some more coffee. I'm going to add some more black right to the top. Here we go. Now, another thing that you can do is if there's spots you don't like, or spots you want a little darker, spots you want a little lighter, this doesn't have to be your only coat of this actual technique. You can do these techniques on top of each other the next day after this is dry. Because it's going to take a while for this water to all dissipate, but as it does, you can do another coat the next day. And I'm just adding some more of that coffee. Oh man, this is cool. I really love this technique. And let's add some more black. I'm just going to do it kind of sporadic now. I'm going to start doing it heavier in some spots. And this is just where the fun starts. You just kind of do it as you please. Do it where you like it. I'm going to do some right here on the edge of this paint. I'm going to get some going. Now, if you're doing a giant counter, you could be doing 10 foot of this at a time. It's no big deal. You have a lot of working time with it. And if you need more, just spray a little more water if you need more working time. Oh yeah. Nice thing about Stone Coat Countertops is no two pieces are going to be exactly the same, but we want to show you how to achieve these colors and these techniques. But your piece is not going to look exactly the same as our piece. In fact, our pieces are never going to look exactly the same, but you're going to get something very similar that if you were to pour an entire kitchen, it's going to be just fine. It's going to look right. Oh, I love this. That gold starts to suspend in there. Looks very natural. I'm just having fun at this point. If you're doing a production job, you can just work right through it and keep going and really do some amazing techniques and be done very quickly. But if you want to play with it, stick around and really see what it can do. So I'm going to do like a big black spot here, and then I'm going to just add a little bit of coffee into that. Yeah, I'm going to do some variation on the piece. We'll add a little bit more gold into that. Oh yeah, that's cool. Now as your water starts to dissipate, the drops of your metallic will stay on the surface more, and so keep that in mind. It's actually a cool technique. It looks kind of like gold deposits there, but just keep that in mind. It's going to act a little different. So I could even come back as this water starts to dissipate, and if I want it even darker, I can just simply start to spray more of the black, and that will keep those sections darker. All right, we'll let this dry, and we'll come back and show you the next step. Here we go. Our first coat of that metallic marble effect, it still has some of that natural gray that's really prominent to the surface. If I were to coat this in clear Stone Coat Countertop Epoxy now, it would look really cool. It would look neat. But what I'm going for is a little darker tone. So I'm going to spritz some just plain water, and then I'll put some metallic on this. Right now, this metallic and this paint's really dry. It's nice and adhered, and that's because it has intermixed with some of that watered down paint. In this case, we're just going to put a little bit of water and metallic, and that's going to rest on the surface, but when that epoxy goes over it, it will saturate that and really make a cool effect to finish our piece, just like this one. So let's go ahead and do that effect. We'll let that dry. This has just been about 6 hours, 6-7 hours since we did this effect. We'll do this next step, and then tomorrow we'll pour our clear coat. Here we go. So the first thing that I'm going to do is I'm just going to take some regular water, and I'm just going to spritz it over the areas that I'm going to darken up a little bit and add some metallics to. And I'm just going to add a little bit of effect because I still want to see this marbling and this color effect. This is a really cool piece, and I don't want to make it too different, but I do want to just put a little bit of extra effects. And so I'm just going to darken up some of these areas just a little bit. So you can see I'm just adding some of that coffee. Now I'm going to add some of this gold. And this actually makes it multi-dimensional. It looks really cool when you're done. But if you like that first effect, that'd be just fine. But we're just adding just another layer of effect here. That's the beautiful thing about this too, is you can mess with it until you're happy. And those are melding and moving together really cool. And I think that's all we're going to do right there. Spray a little bit more water just to get some of these to move together a little bit. Oh yeah, there we go. And now it's not so prominent on top, but actually I got a little ridge right here I'm going to hide. So let's just spray a little black right there. We'll end that up here. A little gold. And it's nice to use multiple metallics and layer them on each other. I'm just working my way off that piece. Well, let's put some black right there. There we go. Oh, this is cool. That's a neat spot right there. So it's all wet right now. We'll let this dry. We'll show you what it looks like before we add our clear epoxy. But if you bring that camera in, you're going to see just what that looks like. So we spritzed all that color on there, and see how it intermixes with the water, and you still see that natural gray and those veins and the marbling come through. But this is just, you know, it would take hours to try to paint this, and it does it automatically with that system. All right, we got our second coat of our metallic treatment done on this Slate Stone marbling pattern. This is just such a cool effect. It's all dry. It's ready for our clear epoxy. That's what's so neat about this particular effect. You're putting all of your coloring in the underpainting. Now we're going to do our clear effect and watch this thing come to life. We're just going to mix up some clear epoxy, and then we're going to trowel it, chop it, torch it, and walk away. Here we go. Let's get started. All right, we got our Stone Coat Countertop clear epoxy mixed up. We're going to go ahead and pour it out on our substrate and watch this thing come to life. Now we do have some air mixed into our product here, and the torching is going to take care of that. We're going to show you, we always torch it 3 times. We start with a sweeping motion after we've chopped it, and you'll get that air right out, and it's just going to turn crystal clear. Let's get started. We'll take our excess epoxy, we'll scrape that right into the center of our mass here, because we're going to mix this again with the trowel as well as the brush. What I like to do with the trowel, when I'm working on a piece that's been poured this way, you can't scrape the teeth across our metallic that's sitting on the surface right now. You just got to kind of baby it. So we're just going to keep those teeth from scratching. So use light pressure. You can hear that I'm not scratching that surface. I'm just letting this pool of epoxy do its thing. I'm going to move it around a little bit. And now what we're going to do is we're going to spread it out. We're going to be nice and easy. We're just going to spread this out, and then we're going to chop it. And I'm just spreading this out like I normally do, where I don't go over the edges quite yet. I'll just bring it around too close to those edges, and then I'll push it over after I get it spread out. Just going around the perimeter here. Now I'm starting to push it right over that edge. And we go. Bring it right over that front edge a little bit. Right over these sides. And you can see I'm not pushing more over the edge than I need. You don't want to waste your material. Now I'm going to mow the lawn. I'm going to start at one end. I'm just going to make sure I have a nice even coat. Pull the excess to me. Just bring it all down here to me so I could scrape the excess right into our bucket. You know, this part is really stress-free because you have you have all of your hard work done. You get to see what it looks like. It really starts to look like natural stone. We're going to chop it, we're going to torch it, and just enjoy the process. So have a good time. You know, make sure you're enjoying what you do. It's a lot of fun. All right, we're going to go ahead and bring it right over here to the edge. You know, new projects like this, they can be intimidating and stressful. And what I've learned is if you're prepped and you have all your prep work done, your kitchen's masked off, you get to really enjoy the artistic element of this and moving color and playing with the pieces and that kind of thing. All right, we're going to take our normal brush, we're going to de-shed it, get any loose bristles out, and we're just going to prime our brush with a little bit of extra material, and we're going to chop it out here. This helps to mix the material. It also helps to get rid of any trowel lines that we may have. And notice I have not brushed those edges quite yet, and that's normal. We're going to brush those edges after we chop the top. I really like this look. This looks like a nice high-end slate, and I did cover some of that white that was showing through with our second coat of metallic treatment last night, and now it's just exactly where I wanted it. It's very natural looking, and it looks like our original sample, but no two pieces are going to be exactly the same. All right, so I'm just brushing these edges now because I have drips that have come over the edge, and I'm using those drips to my benefit as well as a very saturated brush. If you start with a dry brush and do this, you're going to have a harder time coating your edges, but because I have material that's dripped over the edge, it's really simple and really easy. Let's come out to the front. Brush the front of this as well. You can see I'm going in long horizontal strokes. This is our first coat of Stone Coat Countertop Epoxy. We'll torch this, we'll let this dry, and we'll do a second coat as well. Okay, we've poured our clear. We're going to torch the bubbles because we just finished chopping, and we'll brush the edges one more time and we'll let this set up. When I torch it, I'm going to pop the bubbles that are really big very quickly. They disappear. Looks very, very good, but you're still going to have more air trapped in the surface, and we'll come back and do it 2 more times. So you can see how that starts to lay out like glass. We're going to torch this a second time. Alrighty, and we'll do it one more time here. It's very crystal clear. It's laid out very well. We'll torch this. I'll brush the edges one last time. Now I'm just going to take my brush. I'm going to keep it off the surface, but I'm just going to brush horizontal just to make sure I don't have uneven runs. All right, I really like how this piece came out. I got some of that coffee, I got the gold, I got the black, and it's very, very beautiful. I like how this looks. My sample looks really similar. I got a little bit more coffee color. If I wanted to match it exactly, I could look at this and spray a little black over that instead. And so just keep that in mind when you're making your samples. You're going to make them your own, and they're going to look unique, and that's what's beautiful. But this would match in a kitchen because it's done with the same colorant and the same effects. What we're going to do is we're going to let this sit. It's going to dry. We're going to come back tomorrow. We're going to sand it and apply one more clear coat. And then this will be ready to work with. So that's how we do this particular color. And it just is super fun, super easy, awesome. Hey guys, thanks for watching this video on Slate Stone Melded Marble. We really appreciate your support. You can give us a comment below. You can give us a like and a thumbs up. Please subscribe to our channel and get all the newest videos sent right to you so that you don't miss a thing. We got all kinds of videos we're going to show you on how to do different techniques. We appreciate you watching this one. Give us a call anytime for free phone support and visit our website at stonecoatcountertops.com. And until next time, remember, you got this from Stone Coat Countertops.